Jay, you've recently become a four-time author, right? Big congratulations, big kudos to you. Just producing and publishing so many books over the last few years, that's an incredible accomplishment. But let's talk about the book that started it all, I Won't Starve. Now that you're a four-time author, how does it feel when you kind of think about where it all began?
I feel great. I mean, this is my thing now, My oh man. When you say where it all began, you talking about my writing or just me, period?
The writing and actually having the idea to actually produce this book.
um, you know, Again, I always tell people I never wanted to write a book. It's not like a bad thing. That's never was something that was on my radar. Um, I've had people tell me that multiple times. I had people say, "Hey, man, that's shit. You need to do that." And spiritually, people started coming to me saying, "Hey, you need to write a book, or you're going to write a book," like prophesying over me. And once I started being a speaker, everybody said that that's what you're supposed to have. If you're a speaker, you should have a book. So I've never been the type of person to approach something, halfway. So I'm like, all right, well, if I need a book, I'm gonna get a book. It didn't work so easy. It took about 2 years of trying to get it done. And then once it actually locked in, 9 months, very emotional 9 months. So it wasn't easy to get that first one off, but it was amazing process and the outcome that birthed everything else, because now I don't want to do nothing but I really love doing this. This is cool.
So I Won't Starve from $8 to six figures. Outside of telling your story, what's the one probably greatest lesson you want to make sure that readers got from that?
Man, that's a great question. This changes because at first, years ago when it came out, it said something different. You know, um, I did just want to tell people my story. That's what made me fall in love with the process, because the book was an uninterrupted conversation. I didn't feel like enough people listened to me. Enough people wanted to hear what I say. And a lot of people, but definitely a lot of brothers, go through that. Like, people don't want to hear you crying. People don't want to hear you, what they call excuses, even though they could be legit reasons. Nobody want to hear that. And with this, could nobody shut me up? Could nobody tell me to be quiet? I said what I wanted to say in this book, and I'm proud of it. I'm happy about it. Now, that I haven't stopped since saying whatever I felt like saying. I think it's changed with this book here. I definitely just want to let people get an understanding of, you can start from $8. You can just go where you are, man. It's like my second book, and I guess we're gonna get into that in a second, but start where you are. Wherever you are is good enough. You'd be surprised how many people don't do partnerships with people because they gotta get right first, or they don't get out into that business or that opportunity because they gotta get right first. I didn't have anything. My car is being repossessed. I had been repossessed. Got eviction notice on the door. I said, look, I can get a job. I'm gonna take this job. The job was $8. I'm taking an $8 an hour job. Point blank, period. And I'm happy I did. I don't regret taking that job. It was not even a bad job. Yes, you definitely could have got paid more money. I didn't leave the job making $8 an hour, but I started working $8 an hour. I was never late. I produced. I performed at a high level every single day that I worked at that job. I was not a liability. I was definitely a full-fledged asset to that company. And my face is still good to this day. I've had events at that hotel afterwards and was treated great. My daughter was swimming with my old boss, the owner of the hotel's grandchild, and we'll see each other at swim meets and things like that, and talk to me like an equal. So that was beautiful. the whole process was beautiful. You know, I didn't want to take an $8 hour job, but I learned so much. I had an opportunity to do some things there, and it got me to where I needed to go. So that's what I want them to see. Like, don't turn down that job. Don't say you think you're too good for that job or that opportunity. That's just a stepping stone to greater that's out there.
So speaking of working $8 an hour, you went from there and went on to enjoy great business success. Many people, when they refer to you, they're like, he's the GOAT, he's the business
Mm-hmm.
GOAT, he's the business guy, he's Mr. Business, he's super entrepreneur. So you decided to take principles that you have been teaching on for some years and actually put your specific entrepreneurship principles in a book. Why was that important to you?
You know, again, I couldn't wait to jump back into the saddle writing the book. You know, once we did the first one, so I just couldn't wait. I was like, yes. So everything in my mind and my heart was like, hey, let's do a book. Let's do a book. Let's keep the book going. Like, everything was about a book after that. So I had talked about a lot of the principles that's in this book on YouTube years prior. And I mean, like, significant, like 6 years prior to releasing this book. And no views, you know, very minimal views, very minimal engagement. But I had started about 3 years before I put this book out, doing my own workshop, teaching the same stuff. And once it was the fact that we couldn't go outside for COVID, it was like, all right, this is gonna be perfect. I can put this in the book for people to get with a twist on it, but and it worked. So it was just perfect timing to do it. But I was definitely vindicated by knowing that, you know, stuff I put out 100 years ago, you know, they didn't receive it in that medium, but it was well received in this medium.
And that also led to some other opportunities too. And then, choosing to write a book during the pandemic was amazing. But you not only chose to do one, you chose to do two. Always want to just be on the vanguard of just doing things. So, morning motivation, consistent encouragement through a crisis. How did that one come about?
Well, you know, sitting there, you may have no choice but just sit around and listen to people, you know. And social media was crazy, the world was crazy, everybody's, just throw 2020 away. 2020 was a piece of crap. Oh my God, just hurry up 2021. And I just didn't feel like that negativity was the thing that was supposed to be left out there. You know, as an entrepreneur, I remember having a conversation with a gentleman who worked for, I believe, the SBDC, and he was just encouraging me about, you know, oh, things are going to be fine and things. And I let him know, like, this is not a crisis to me. I mean, when you're a full-time entrepreneur, anything can be a crisis. If you see, you know, at the time we were recording this video, we're a couple weeks away, just removed from Southwest Airlines going through hell. They didn't expect that. It was just their season. It was their time to go through that. I mean, how much money they're going to lose for, you know, all those delayed flights and all those things that was happening. Man, that's just business. It's gonna feel like a little bit of a pandemic to them going through that situation, you know. And then it's gonna fall back on us because the prices they're gonna be charging for people to fly later on and get that money back. It's just so much happens when you in business and in commerce. So, as I say in the subtitle, it's consistent encouragement through a crisis, because that was a crisis, but it wasn't the first crisis, and it's definitely not gonna be the last crisis. So, how do we stay motivated no matter what the crisis look like, no matter what the situation is? And that's what I wanted to put out. And, you know, took to doing videos for, you know, months straight, you know, without stopping. And I just didn't know if I could sustain it. And so, well, hey, go back to the book again. I'm so super excited about being in the space where I can put together a book. So I'm like, hey, I'm about to throw that together. And this has actually started to be, you know, at first it didn't jump out immediately because coming out in 2021, people happy to be back outside. Nobody wasn't locked in as it was. But man, over the last year and some change, people started coming around the corner with this book. You know, this was my only not number one book out of the first three. So I was kind of shocked when I felt the way, but I learned that don't worry about that. People would come around, just put out good product, and man, over that last, especially last year, this book did phenomenal, because it's timely and it's timeless. So I'm happy about this piece. I felt like prior to now that this was my best writing.
So I like that consistent encouragement portion of the subtitle, because one of the things that you've been talking a lot about is encouragement, motivation, but also support, and the importance of why business owners need that. And so that brings us to book baby number 4, which I'm sure you've been bitten by the bug right at this point in the game. And you're always and forever going to be an author and creating content. So Business Corner, talk to us about that.
Now this is officially my best book. I keep saying it. A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people, oh, I don't know. Look, this is my best work. I literally, the way that we went about putting this together, and I think I was in the zone. I hit the zone for this book. So, I remember doing the reads and seeing the goosebumps come up on my arms, rereading, what I put down, what I put out. And it's all me. And it's like, wow, yo, I said that. But it's a real thing. But no, I felt like, again, everything that I do in my business model, the way I approach business is about helping individuals and making sure they don't have to go through the things that I went through. One of my toughest things that I went through, and I'm sure a bunch of entrepreneurs will attest to this, is not having a lot of support, not having sufficient support. And so I knew that there was enough people that resonate with that situation. Not having the proper people in your corner is what really people are not talking about why businesses are failing. They'll tell you the statistics, and the statistics are scary. 80% of businesses fail in the first year. Well, as I put in this book, those people in the first year just told their parents that they were going into business, and their parents shunned them. Their wife or husband shunned them, said they didn't agree. They on their own. Their friends, they left their jobs. They did a lot of things in that first year. That's why the first year of business failed. It's not, rocket science to figure out, but nobody's digging. They'll tell you, oh, they didn't have a business plan, or they didn't know what they were doing. Well, a lot of people don't, because you got a vision that some people didn't ask for the damn vision, but they got it, and now they're going after it. They see it clear as day, but they don't know how to get to it, and they step out on faith. But it's beautiful when you can step out on faith and somebody's with you, somebody's behind you, somebody's in your corner, somebody saying, that a boy, that a girl. And there's so many entrepreneurs that don't step out with that support system, and this is why they fail. But the beautiful thing about this book is that I didn't only talk about the beginner. I talked about people from soup to nuts, from the beginning of business all the way to if you decide to sell your company. So it's something there for everybody, but I wanted to encompass the whole entrepreneurial experience from start to finish, from inception to sale, because in every part of that, you need people on your team. Sometimes it's your spouse, sometimes it's a coach or mentor, sometimes it's people, your staff, who you hiring the right people that's going to be there for the long haul. And they've actually bought into your vision, and now have been able to create their own vision within your vision. So we touch all of that in this book, and all these are things that I've been through myself. And majority of the things I've been through, I was by myself doing it. And I would be the GOAT, or one of the GOATs, if I had the level of support. I appreciate the people who call me that because I might be that to them in their world. I don't feel like I'm that, nowhere near, but I am successful at what I do and what I've done. So that's enough. And I didn't lose the entrepreneurial fight. You know, it didn't break me. I didn't let go of my business. The most recent business that I'm in now is 10 years old this year. You know what I mean? So I ain't still going. So um, I didn't lose. I kept fighting. But boy, I just know that fight would have been 10 times easier if I had somebody in my corner through all the things that we go through, all the steps that we talk about in this book. So I needed to put it out there. And I promise you, this is my best work.
So the difference, so You Won't Starve and Business Corner, those are at the moment, your business books, your business and entrepreneurship books. But one of the things that you included in You Won't Starve is an assessment. And so for a book that's about key principles of entrepreneur development, why was it important for you to include that assessment in there?
Oh man, you know, that's and then the assessment not for me. You bought the book, you got it with you, you know. So, but it's for you. We got to ask ourselves quite the right questions, man. And the assessment that I put in there specifically asks you questions, and if you answer certain kind of ways, it's going to tell you a lot about yourself. It's going to tell you how you fit in the realm of entrepreneurship, and you need to know that. Before you allow the world to keep telling you how you fit or dictate how you should be doing business or if you should be in business or not, ask yourself these questions. Take the assessment. Learn about yourself. Do that introspective look. You know, and then if you pass the test, then move forward. If not, I think you still should move forward, but you should make some adjustments. You should make the proper adjustments, then move forward. But yeah, I think it's perfect to have an assessment.
So, final question for you, and this is an overall question about your authorship career. When it comes to leaving your mark on the world, you're someone that understands legacy and impact, and you talk about that in Morning Motivation, how important that is. But when it comes to your books and your writings and your career as an author, what's the mark that you ultimately want to leave on the world outside of just telling your stories?
You know, it's not out nothing outside of me telling my story. It is that's the mark. I think that especially as African Americans in this country, we don't tell our story enough. You know, and put it in a book where it's encapsulated. You know, we put it on YouTube and it's somewhat encapsulated, but it's something special about a book. You know, when you start reading again, everybody reads in school. Well, most people. But when you start reading for your leisure, reading to get knowledge of self and knowledge for yourself, you know, it becomes a superpower. And this sticks. And our ancestors used to have writings and have these type of things for us to pass on to the next generation. You know, people are going to know what I thought. They're going to know how I felt about things. Me being an avid reader, you see my library behind me. I literally have books on that library that's 100 years old. And I learn from them. I sit and read them with my family so that they can understand, they can know. And I look forward to hearing people saying the same thing, that they've taken in my book and they read it with with their family, to talk to them about business, to talk to them about consistent motivation through a crisis, and understanding that they're going through a crisis now, but trouble don't last always. You know, those type of things. Telling them that, adopting the mantra of "I won't starve," understanding that the platform you leap from is more important than the platform you land on. Like, that stuff has to be written, as he said. Biblically, it was written. We don't know Frederick Douglass. I know his quotes. I know things that was written about him, things that he wrote. But that's still able to impact me, never meeting him, never, know besides what I read. And I want the same legacy for myself. This is freeing exercise for me. I love doing this. I'm never gonna stop doing it. I would love to, when my time is up, is 50 to 100 books with my name on it that I've contributed to the world. And I think that'd be a real dope situation to be a legacy to leave. Have my own libraries worth of books for my kids to have, and my grandchildren, their children.